That's what you should be worried about, not AI taking your job. It's worried about the person who uses AI that's going to be 80% faster than you or 2 times faster than you coming in and taking your job.
Even my most seasoned salespeople now, I'm fortunate I've got a guy that's been in the industry for 51 years now.
Yeah.
Straight out of high school, went into the industry. We brought him on board with ChatGPT not long ago. Old dog, new trick. But he embraced it. We rolled it slowly. And now he's in love with it. He does know the answer.
Yeah.
But some of these newer products and whatnot, he's like, I don't really know. Hold on a second. Yeah. And it gives him every technical document he could possibly need, summarizes it, and he can give the customer response so much faster.
I actually tell mine to treat me like I'm a complete idiot that's never done anything before in business and doesn't know how to read a P&L, and give me things that I would never have thought of and tell me why. You can either learn this or you can watch as everyone else learns it, and you can be the one who doesn't know how to use it that probably does lose your job because you can't use AI. Welcome to the Grit Blueprint Podcast, the show for bold builders, brand leaders, and legacy makers in the construction and building industry. I'm your host, Stefanie Couch, and I've been in this industry my entire life. Whether we're breaking down what's working in sales and marketing, new advances in AI and automation, or interviewing top industry leaders, you're going to get real-world strategies to grow your business, build your brand, and lead your team. Let's get to work. Welcome to the Grit Blueprint Podcast with Stefanie Couch. I am excited today to have Mark Blickenstaff. He is the Divisional Director of Revenue Growth and Marketing at Moore Lumber and Hardware. They have 7 stores, and they have been a trusted staple in Colorado since 1947. You guys have been around a long time, legacy business. And Mark and I had a conversation at IBS in Vegas that really excited me because he is shaking things up around Moore Lumber. It may be a long-standing traditional business, but he is bringing AI and automation into the mix. And today I'm really pumped to talk to you about this. Probably the first person I've ever heard that actually knew what an AI agent was in our space. So I nerded out pretty hard. Welcome to the podcast, Mark.
Thanks, Stephanie. It's glad to be here.
And we are going to break it down today and talk a little bit about that AI. But I want you to tell me about you and kind of how did you get into this industry? What's your journey been like? And what is your role today at Moore Lumber?
Sure. So I'm fortunate. I actually grew up around the industry. Grew up in a small logging town in Idaho. So spent my whole childhood watching logging trucks come in and rail cars of lumber leave from the Boise Cascade Mill.
Yeah.
And honestly, graduated high school and swore I'd never get into the industry. That was not for me. So off to college I went. I actually started in the industry pushing a broom at a nursery at our local home center when I was in college. And 16 years later, I kind of woke up and I realized I'm in the industry. So progressed all the way through all the ranks at the home center and just kept on trucking. And then coming to Moore Lumber, that happened in 2019. And the legend Ken Keene gave me a phone call and said, "Hey, I've got this opportunity." I was like, "Awesome. I've never been to Colorado. That sounds great." So took a phone call from the ownership here, Bill and Aaron, and just a natural fit. 3-hour phone call seemed like 2 minutes.
That's
so
awesome.
Great conversation. Got down here to visit it, and what really drew me in was the appreciation for the people that Bill and Aaron have, and then our contractors and our DIYers. They're all just incredible. So first couple of years solely focused on ops and sales, and then a couple of years ago added marketing into my repertoire, and now I'm blessed. I get to serve and oversee a lot of it now as a divisional director.
That's awesome. And you have a cool title, Divisional Director of Revenue and Marketing. Tell me what your day-to-day looks like.
Oh, my day-to-day. My day-to-day definitely starts very early, checking our trucks, making sure we've got everything on the road. We're not going to disappoint any customers today. Making sure that my salespeople are all lined out. They have quality leads to work, what their pipelines look like. I transition from there over into the marketing side to make sure my marketing people are doing what they're supposed to be, and they always do a great job. So really, it's a lot of feed up on bond eating. It's pretty kosher. Yeah.
That's what I was actually hoping you would say, is a lot of just dwindling your thumbs around and just, no big deal.
I've got good people. I'm bored. Yeah.
That's amazing, though, when you have a marketing team that's strong, because a lot of our people in our industry don't really believe in marketing. You guys have a little different stance on that. So tell me a little bit about that. Like, what does marketing mean to you in this business, and how do you and your team do that?
Sure. So, I mean, it is fun because we're taking a lot of that old school service and we're giving it a dash of some new school thinking.
Yeah.
And I really do enjoy doing that. I'm a millennial, and I got to be real. We're special ducks. Yeah,
millennials in the house.
we are special ducks, and we like to be communicated to in a different way, and we do thrive on partnerships. So for me, marketing isn't necessarily we've got cheap lumber, we've got cheap nails. Yeah. Marketing to me is, hey, we're here to help you grow your business. Mm-hmm. I've got resources, I've got skills. You can go build a house, and you're incredible at it. We can market. Let's go ahead and collaborate, and I'll use my resources. You go do what you do best, and I'll go do what I do best.
I love it.
So through that partnership, we've really generated some neat programs to help our builders grow, which in turn, we grow as well. Yeah. So marketing is a lot of outbound is what we're looking at.
You have nailed it, my friend. I mean, congratulations, because I talk to a lot of people in this industry, and I don't know anyone who has quite figured that out of, hey, if we can make our customers money and we can reduce friction in their business, because I don't know very many contracting companies, especially small guys in a truck or two, that even think about that type of thing, their brand, their marketing. But you are using your resources to help them grow their business. Oh, smart. This is really smart. What are some ways you're doing that for people? I mean, are you doing like direct mail? Are you doing I don't want you to give away all your secrets, but I'm just curious because it's different.
I'm an open book. I mean, honestly, I'd love more independent lumber yards to jump on board with me.
Yeah.
No, we do everything from traditional marketing, which I'll deem into the direct mail, newspaper ads. So, we've got graphic teams. We can certainly help with that. We can help with your logo design. Our great partner develops websites for people. Yeah. We essentially came out with a 72-hour website program.
Oh my gosh.
Very inexpensive for them to get into.
Yeah.
So it's like most of these guys don't have a website. They might have a Facebook page that hasn't been seen in 3 years, but that's the extent of their digital presence. So
I love it. Yeah. And that's a lot of what we're doing for people in our business at Grit Blueprint is figuring out how do we actually have some customers that we're trying to get to do things like this. So, I mean, I didn't know, you just shocked me. I didn't know we were going to go here. I'm so excited right now. I can hardly contain my little nerdy marketing door window lumberyard heart, but this is it, man. Like, you got to figure out what they don't want to do, but they need to do, and do it for them. And this is it. Like, and the money is a part of it. Like, look, there's a fixed cost. There's a real cost on building a website. But if you can do it fast, you can do it for them, and they pay a little bit or maybe don't pay anything. And that's a part of your service. That is it. So I think you guys have nailed it. Now I just need to come to Colorado to see this in real life.
Do it.
But your company has obviously changed a lot over the last, decades. 1947, it started a certain way. You're distinguishing yourself that way with marketing. How else are you guys standing out in this competitive market? Because the independent lumberyard and hardware store sometimes gets overshadowed in the media about all these amazing things that are acquisitions and all the big getting bigger. How's the independent lumberyard and hardware store win today?
Great. Yeah. I mean, we were one location, Bailey, Colorado, 1947. Now up to the 7 locations. At the end of all of it, it's still to our roots: integrity, service, trust, community focus. Those are our staples. We're always on those. But what sets us apart is, our ability to be the local shop, but with the capabilities of a much larger operation.
Yeah.
Our prices are very competitive because we do have very strong relationships with manufacturers and wholesalers. We're more nimble as well. And that's one of our biggest advantages. Not knocking the big guys because they're damn good at what they do. Yep. But, we can pivot really, really fast. And with 7 different locations, I've got 7 different markets, really. So tastes are different and preferences are different. So it's like, cool, I can pivot that store, just that one. I don't need to pivot the entire company.
That's right.
So having that nimble attitude is incredible for us.
Yeah, that decentralized model, man, that's a competitive advantage if I've ever seen one. I used to work at a really big distribution company. And they won that way. That's really what I think their competitive advantage is that they allowed their managers in market to make decisions. My old boss used to say all the time, if we want to sell lemonade and pins, we could sell lemonade and pins. And I'm like, I don't know if Corp would be okay with that or not. But you know what? Honestly, I'm not so sure. I always wondered if he was going to be out on the sidewalk with a lemonade stand one day when I came to work, just so he could say that story was true. But, it's like, that is how you win in your market, is being able to let your managers and let your people do the things that their customers really need and want in day-to-day market. And that changes so rapidly, It's hard nowadays to have a true competitive advantage. I think your people are competitive advantage as well. Tell me a little bit about your team.
My team, small teams. We run really small teams throughout our company. Actually, we have outside reps. Yeah. Not a single one of them has a truck, though. We rely on that relationship very, very deeply, and they have a personal relationship. And the biggest thing we're driving home is, these aren't just customers; these are partners. When we fail, we're delaying their livelihoods, the shoes for their kids, the meals on their table, whatever you want to call it. So, we all take it very, very personally. We try to take it more personally than our contractors do, and they take it extremely personal.
Yeah.
So that's our biggest focus is, just maintaining we are that true partner, that we are invested in their success.
Yeah. And that's the thing, people talk about, we're about to transition to this conversation about AI. What I love about AI is that it makes us faster on the things that don't really matter from that personal relationship side. The stuff that's really just like a data execution or an automation, that's faster so that we can do the things that only humans can do, which is really what matters in our business. But the thing is that a lot of times our humans are mired up in these little tasks that could be done automated or by AI, and they can't spend the time doing the things that really matter. So that's what I love about this so much, is that I do think it's going to allow us to do more of the really good stuff as humans in our relationship building cycle of customer service.
Absolutely.
All right, let's dive in. This is an old school industry. It's like scary AI is here and they don't necessarily know what to do. So you and I had a conversation. Actually, I interviewed Aaron Moore, and we had a great conversation in Vegas at the IBS show. And while we were talking about AI, he said, hey, Mark is building some really cool stuff. What inspired Moore Lumber to actually go in and explore AI automation technology? I'm guessing you personally were interested in this, but what are some of the problems that you're like, I wonder if we could fix this with these tools?
Yeah. And so I'm blessed, I've got 2 generations of the family still working in the company. Yeah. So generation 2 was actually one of the larger spearheads on us getting into AI. He's at an age that you wouldn't expect it, but he is all about it and he supports everything we do with it. Awesome. So really it all started down to, how can we serve a customer better without losing what makes us special? How do we not lose personal contact, but still make us more efficient? So that's where, when we started to digest into it, it's like, well, we've been using AI for years, decades even. We just called them algorithms, right? Well, an algorithm really is AI. We just didn't call it that yet. So now with the advancements and the more responsiveness and the broader depth of AI, it's like, great, that means everything we do can get broader.
Yeah.
So we've been using it forever for, supply and demand, keeping our supply chain full, keeping our inventory levels appropriate, seasonal changes, all those things. And so now we can actually take those and go even do a deeper dive. And I can actually pull in forecasted weather, like, hey, why not? We know weather impacts our industry every single day. We just got, 12 inches of snow today here in Colorado.
It's 82 degrees here in Georgia. I don't even understand that. Okay.
Oh yeah, we were 75 yesterday, so I don't know.
Wow, that's crazy.
So, it's looking at those and going, okay, I can do so much now. I can take a weather forecast and I can impact my inventory levels. I can impact my staffing levels. I can impact, I can expect a traffic flow, what my cash flow is going to be for a day, all these things. Any question I really want to dive into and find an efficiency, AI just allows us to do that.
Yeah. And I just saw this week. So, talking about fast moving, like, holy cow, every week something huge comes out. So Google just released, and I'm sure you saw this already, where you can go into a Google sheet And now instead of having to be a wizard that can do pivot tables and formulas, which there's some broken hearts right now that I know of because they're pivot table wizards. Mm-hmm. But now you can just type into Google Sheet formulas, find this thing that I want to understand, and it literally will just do it.
Yeah, it's incredible.
That right there, holy cow. Like, summarize this plus this, and then tell me based on seasonality this thing, and it can just do it in Google Sheets. Yep. So if you think you have to be some sort of AI genius that can program and do all this stuff, that is not true. No. It's something you should start to just try. So, I will say the biggest thing that's changing right now is from ChatGPT coming out in 2022 at the end of, I think it was December 2022 is when I started messing with it. It just come out to the masses. You could write an email, you could do all these things. But right now, what you can do is build AI agents. So agentic AI, for someone listening that is like, I have no idea what she's saying. It's basically building a customer service person or a person that works for you to do a task. And instead of you having to type in the prompt, you kind of tell it what task and you program some paths through it, and it starts to do that automatically. So you guys are actually starting to use that for something. You mentioned about a paint agent. So tell us a little bit about that. I want to hear about this paint agent. Tell people how you're using this.
Yeah, we're extremely excited. So we partnered with a company. It's actually called Paint Pal. And of course, AI is in paint, so that works out great.
Yep.
And what we've partnered with them to do is we did a time study on a phone call to order paint. And paint is a very large segment for us. We're aligned with Benjamin Moore, and we do a good amount of volume there. Mm-hmm. So what we started looking at was, it doesn't matter if the customer is ordering 1 gallon or 100 gallons, it's still about a 12-minute phone call. Well, 12-minute phone calls times X amount per day, that's a lot of time. Mm-hmm. So we started to shift a little bit to text to order. And it was just old school. You just text, one of my paint salesmen, or paint people, excuse me. And that was great. Yeah. Well, what we found was, okay, it gets a little bit of a bottleneck to it. So how can we make this even better? And so partnering with Paint Pal, we developed, we call her Ashley, and she's our agent. And she knows everything about paint. I mean, she knows technical specs. She knows colors. She knows what colors you can use on exteriors and what colors you can't. Yeah. She knows the Sherwin equivalent in a Ben Moore color. She can cross-reference. She can do all of it. Mm-hmm. And so we programmed her to have a natural conversation via text. And so our paint contractors just sit there and text with her, just like you or I. And they have no clue, unless we had told them, that it was an AI agent. So at the end of the day, what we have is this beautiful text conversation that's still personable and still has a personality to it. And at the end of it, we've got a concise order formatted in a way that's completely makes sense to everybody. And we have the records and we have everything else that goes with it. Yep. And it gets emailed and blasted to the paint team. They mix it. And we have a very high service quality standard. So we're a 2-hour window from order to job site.
That's awesome.
So time matters to us. Yeah. So all of this can happen, and I save 12 minutes of time for a real person. Yep. Now, I'm not replacing that real person by any means. No. I'm just making them more efficient at what I need them to be doing, truly.
Yeah, that's something I want people to really think about is like, these are the tasks that we don't have time to get to, that we're automating. Right. 68% of small business phone calls reportedly go unanswered. And any person that gets voicemail, 80% of those people never call back. That's a big number. In a retail business like yours, if you could capture 100% of your phone calls instead of 34% or 32%, that is a big deal. Like, that's a lot of people that are now getting answered, that are getting helped, that are getting sold. And so that's the type of task we're going to give AI to do. It's this paint stuff that's so taxing. And if that person texts the wrong thing, or if you don't know someone that has been selling paint for 30 years, they probably don't know what Ashley knows anyway, to even text it as a human. That's the thing, is there's so many ways to optimize this process where the human is still there. They're still employed. They're busy talking to people in real life that are in the store. And that Ashley is still working on the back end, doing what she needs to do. Oh man, that's like every angle of that is a plus for me.
Right. And a lot of it truly came out of COVID, right? I mean,
Yeah.
COVID, we all forgot how to be salespeople during COVID.
Yeah.
We became great order takers, though.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we could take orders all day long. Well, now it's that transition back, especially in a market like right now. Things are a little challenging across the nation. We have to actually sell again.
Yeah.
So that takes time.
Yeah, for sure.
Taking a paint order doesn't need to be one of those things. That's just order taking.
I think that's so important. What do we want our humans to be optimized for? And even when I think about sales, so I love this. This is sort of off AI, but talking about sales, I think that's one of the biggest problems we have in our business is that every customer I have, every single customer at Grit Blueprint, they wish they could sell more. People want more revenue, and they wish they had more salespeople that really were good at going out and hunting and selling. Every single one of them. And I'm curious, like, how do you solve that problem? The next generation, we all fuss about the older people are like, now we're the old guys and gals, the millennials. Like Gen Z just won't pick up the phone and they don't know how to sell. And, these kids out of college, they can't do anything. I don't really feel that way, but I have a lot of Gen Z amazing people on my team. But I know there's a perception there. But even millennials, it's like, oh, well, they can't sell. They just want to do everything online. What's the answer to that, Mark? Because that's a loaded question, but how do we get salespeople to be educated in the products? Some of these things are so technical. You guys sell windows and doors. That's my love language. Mm-hmm. There's like 500 different things you need to know to sell a door.
Right.
Literally, there's 500 things because there's so many product lines. There's different types. There's different swings and hands and all that different stuff. How do you teach the next generation that?
Well, that is a loaded question. You're right.
Give me the exact answer. I demand.
Yeah, let me jump right on that. But I am going to loop in AI. So even my most seasoned salespeople now, I'm fortunate. I've got a guy that's been in the industry for 51 years now.
Yeah.
Straight out of high school, went into the industry.
Yep.
You can do the math on how old he is now. But we brought him on board with ChatGPT not long ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, old dog, new trick. But he embraced it. We rolled it slowly. And now he's in love with it because he does know the answer.
Yeah.
But some of these newer products and whatnot, he's like, I don't really know. Hold on a second. Yeah. And it gives him every technical document he could possibly need, summarizes it, and he can give the customer response so much faster.
Yeah. And it's written in an email format or a text format or whatever it is where he doesn't have to, maybe he's not a great writer or maybe he's not a good speller or none of that matters anymore.
It's losing some potency, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But I think for the younger generation, it's going to be as big of a tool because when I think about my personal upbringing, I came up at a time where Google became a thing. Yep. And the instant result was always go Google it. Yep. Well, now it's go AI it or go chat it. So we can do that. And I think bringing that new generation and letting them know, okay, it's okay to utilize a tool because it is just a tool.
Absolutely.
That's all it is.
Just like a nail gun. That's Bingo. What when people are really upset about it with me, they're like, this is going to take over the world. It's like, yeah, just like Passload nail gun. I have no affiliation with Passload. That just happens to be what I grabbed. So don't get mad at me, Hitachi or whoever. But at the end of the day, that is what the nail gun was to the hammer. It's what the farmer's tractor was to the horse, the car to the horse. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. And it's not going anywhere. That's the truth of it is you can either choose to be the person who now decides to learn this at 60, 70 years old or at 20 years old. It doesn't matter where you are in the workforce age. You can either learn this or you can watch as everyone else learns it and you can be the one who doesn't know how to use it. That probably does lose your job because you can't use AI. That's what you should be worried about, not AI taking your job. It's worried about the person who uses AI that's going to be 80% faster than you or 2 times faster than you coming in and taking your job. That's what we should be worried about as a workforce. And I think that's huge that you guys are training people to use that. One thing I hear a lot, and so I'm curious on your end, how you mitigate this is what about misinformation from AI? So maybe especially on a product line, like if you sell a certain type of windows or a certain type of Trex decking, and then it pulls from TimberTech or whatever line you happen to sell. How do you mitigate that risk?
So we have a hard fast rule. It's 85-15. It's 85% correct. 15% of it's still going to require your time and energy.
Yeah.
So end of the day, we do rely on our people having the knowledge and going, oh, that doesn't smell right. Let me go back to that one.
Yeah.
Now, at the same time, ChatGPT is the model we use, has gotten a lot more advanced with putting citations on everything.
Yep.
And, whether you have to ask it to or not, your choice. But ours is automatic. We tell it to cite everything.
Yep.
So that when it does kick something out, it's like, okay, well, that came from Wikipedia. Let's go check that one just to make sure. I have no affiliation with Wikipedia. It's great. I love it. All those disclaimers.
If you want to sponsor me, hit me up.
Yeah. Crowdfund that one too. But so we do require the citations to be there. That way our customer or our team does have some confidence on where it came from.
Yep.
But again, it's 85-15, which is great because we've always worked with 80-20 rules, right? Well, I love 5% more. That's even better.
Yeah, I'll take the
incremental
ratio plus 5. Is that what we're going to call it?
Pretty much.
I love it. And with Perplexity, which I don't know if you've used Perplexity much, I just recently started using that when I need to do research. Like I really need it to be legit. I need to go get some sources. I go to Perplexity. So try that one if you haven't. It's pretty cool. The rating, they did a lot of studies recently that I saw on, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, a few different ones, Copilot, some different stuff. And Perplexity's rating of hallucinations was way lower than everyone else. And their citation quality on really data stuff, it was a lot higher, like 8 or 9 out of 10 versus, 5 or 6 out of 10. But even this week, ChatGPT OpenAI just came out with a new model, 4.1, that's for coding and some different things that is substantially better than it was last week. Like exponentially better. This is the nerdiest episode I've ever. People are going to be like, we thought this girl wore a pink hat and was a branding person. What the heck is going on right now? I'm in the alternate universe. But this is like really so amazing how different things are going one week to the next.
Mm-hmm.
Just nuts. So people are like, how do you keep up? How do you keep up, Mark? Things are changing every week. What do you do to keep up with this?
Well, sleep is optional. So, let's just throw that out there. No, I do spend a significant amount of my time. And it's a priority, right? So it has to become a priority for you. Otherwise, you'll never be able to achieve success with this.
Yeah.
So if you're going to implement it, make it a priority and then do dedicate to your priorities. So for me, it is a priority. Finding a way, labor markets are tough. They're always going to be tough. We got to find more efficiencies. So it's a high priority for our company to be extremely efficient. So I spend I would say average of 2 hours a day, just trying to keep up with the news, latest releases, and everybody's coming out with something. So it is, but there's a lot of garbage out there.
Yeah, for sure.
But once you lock into a platform that aligns with you and, meets your criterias, whether it be security or usability, whatever it is, integrations, once you lock into that, stay focused on that one. That's how I stay up to date with it.
Yeah.
I read the garbage briefly. I read this other stuff intently.
Yeah, for sure. And you can actually program. So since we're talking about AI, I have made an AI agent to program what I want on the updates. So I have multiple newsletters that I read every day. I have all these different things. So it can scrape the most important information that's pertinent to whatever you're doing. So you basically hire someone that's an AI person to do that for you. So the way that you can find and sort through all this information doesn't have to be manual. You can do that. But that's one thing we're about to come out with the Grit Blueprint. I'm going to start doing like a weekly update. Maybe a video, I'm not sure, because this stuff is so, reading it just doesn't quite, it's hard to understand it. So maybe I do AI update weekly newsletter for us nerds that want to know the deep dive that's a video. But cool. It is just changing so much. And my husband is the one that doesn't sleep. Me and him both love this stuff, but he gets in there and just builds these new things. And he's learned to code Python and all these things. So maybe you talk to Grit Blueprint about doing some of this crazy stuff you really want to build, but a lot of this stuff you can just ChatGPT, It's really cool. I love it. All right, give me a few more examples because this is hard to theorize for a lot of people. operations, customer engagement, sales. How do you see this? Either you guys are already implementing it, or give me some examples of ways you think this could work in an independent lumberyard and hardware store.
Sure. One way that I actually use it, and some people might call it cheating, but I actually dump my P&L into it.
Okay.
And I say, hey, summarize it, show me opportunities for improvement. And it's surprising the suggestions it comes up with.
And are you doing this in ChatGPT Pro or which version are you using? Because that can matter.
I'm in Pro and I'm using 4.0 right now.
Okay. So Pro, for those listeners that don't know, is a paid service. They have different models. They have a $20 a month subscription. I think it's called Plus.
Something like that, yeah.
And then Pro is $200 a month. And then the model you're using is 4.0. So if someone wants to mimic that, that's what I would reference as well, is you do want to pay that $200 a month. You can't pay anyone that would do enough work for $200 a month to get what you could get out of it. It is worth the money.
Right.
So that's awesome. Okay. And the type of prompt tell me a little more about what you're telling it you want from the P&L.
Yeah. So, for those of you that are security conscious, you can turn off upload information. Yes. So my P&Ls do not go to the world. Nobody gets to see them but me.
That's a great point.
That is a feature I highly recommend you turn on. Yes. And I do operate in multiple logins as well. I have one that uploads and downloads, and I have one that never uploads and only downloads. So
and what that means for people who don't know is uploading and downloading means it remembers your information and it's training the model basically. So it's training its world out there to learn on what you're giving it. So you can basically stop that. And if you're like really scared of that, then you can stop it altogether where, like he's saying, he has a login he's going into that never learns anything, basically.
Right. So it'll stay local to me only. Yeah. So a prompt for that one. Yeah. I mean, literally it's just as simple as summarize this, show me increases and decreases, and then show me suggestions for decreasing controllable costs.
Yeah.
And it will kick me out probably a 10-page document. And it'll go through the full summaries. It'll tell me which divisions are up and which divisions are down. And it took a little training, but not much. I mean, it's pretty impressive how smart it just picked up on everything.
One of the things that I like to tell my ChatGPT, so pro tip here is I like to talk to my ChatGPT instead of typing it, because you can just talk to it like me and you are talking right here. My ChatGPT has a name. Does yours have one?
I call mine Darren, but yeah.
Okay, Darren. Okay, so mine's Gritbot. That's nice. What she named herself. Okay. My husband's is Echo. That's what he named himself. But Darren and you, I'm sure, could do this as well. But if you talk to it, you can add a Chrome extension and just talk to it back and forth. But I actually tell mine to treat me like I'm a complete idiot that's never done anything before in business and doesn't know how to read a P&L, and give me things that I would never have thought of and tell me why. Mm-hmm. And so it gives you just a little more breakdown. And then you can also tell it to talk to you like you're a third grader, those types of things, because sometimes I feel like it can give you an answer and you're like, that's great, but I need more to understand even where that context came from, and telling it to treat you like a complete idiot. Because honestly, sometimes the things I ask it about, I am a complete idiot. Like, fair. I do not know crap about this. So really, I need you to really act like I don't know. And then it'll give you just something really awesome. And you can keep prompting. And I think that's another thing is one time is not going to be a lot of times enough to extrapolate the things you want. But if you keep asking it as you would a person. So if I ask Mark a question about something I know nothing about, he's going to answer me. And then I'm probably going to have a follow-up question. Well, that's how you should think of your conversations with any kind of AI model.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So that's the financial side. Marketing side, oh my gosh, we use it all the time, every time. So and on the marketing side, we've actually uploaded our vision statement, our mission statement, our value statement, our company history. So it knows everything about us. So it can go out and get more information from the web, but at the same time, it has a memory of who we are, what we are, where we're going.
Yep.
And so,
are you saving that as projects in ChatGPT? Is that how you're making sure it remembers? Okay.
Yep. And also we do utilize logins a lot. So we try to keep the brains a little bit separate. There's some crossovers.
So they're not, someone in marketing is not remembering the financial stuff and all that. Okay.
Right. Yep. Yep. So we'll utilize that, and then we give it our priorities. What are our campaign pushes going to be? So, okay, this month we're really focused on, well, normally it'd be sunny, but we're focused on deck planning and things like that. So, okay, we really want to highlight our deck specialists. We really want to highlight, True Frame, because that's what we use for KDAT. We really want to push decorators and timber tech this month. Yep. And so we give it those prompts and we say, hey, develop whatever it is, social media plan, a LinkedIn plan, direct mailers, all those things, and it will kick out. And again, 85-15. It's not giving you the full answer, but it's putting you down a path that makes it a whole lot more attainable than me just sitting there and writing everything out.
And in a world where we're all very busy, there's 15 different platforms. If you think about all the social medias and all the different like blogs and newsletters and every touch you could have in a marketing world, you can get, like you said, 85% of the way there on all 15 instead of having to do 100% of the work. And then from there, you go in and say, okay, this LinkedIn post is spit out. It's pretty good, but the hook sucks. And this needs to be shorter. And then you can either re-prompt it or you can write that by hand. And that's the beauty of this is you're not, again, doing all of it, but you're getting way further than I don't know any person that has a marketing team big enough to do everything that you should be doing in marketing. I know people that have $1 million a year content teams, not in our industry. That would be, I would love to see it one day. Someday. I'm praying. But, someday. They have a guy that follows them around with a camera all the time, records everything they do. They're spending $80,000 a month on content. They still don't have enough for what they really want to do, everything they want to do. So you'll never get there, but do best with what the tools are out there and you can get further. So I love that. What's the biggest hack that you think has really changed the game for you guys? Like something that was just unobtainable before that now you're able to do with AI in marketing specifically?
That's a really solid question. I would have to say getting specific as a crossover between the marketing and the inventory load.
Yeah.
Because now, again, with the forecasting and everything else and our trends over the years, we can input all of that and we can get, within days, proper or good inventory loading for good campaigns.
Yeah.
And it's really fine tuned how we do that and how we push something out to the market.
Love it. And, when you're thinking about one thing I don't think people think about at all is the ability to create images on AI. So, it's hard to get job site photos. It's hard to get product photos. What I'm waiting, and maybe I just build this myself because I haven't gotten it yet, but, we do a lot of photography and videography, like real life. We're out there with a photograph, from this job site to say, here's the chat, here's the prompt we want to make and all these different things, but it doesn't look like the door that you sold because it's like AI's got, some random door that's not even real. Like, it gives you some weird panel layout that no one would ever order in real life. And it's real obvious it's not a real door. You want that door that's actually the brand that you're selling. So if you can figure out how to do that, that would be amazing. And I've worked on it a lot. I've actually not slept hours trying to get that, Lincoln aluminum clad black slimline door to be on this house I just created in AI. Haven't gotten it to be perfect yet, but I think we are so darn close to that. And if we can do that, that would be huge. But if you're just trying to show like a Craftsman door with lap siding on it that looks like some sort of brand that's fiber cement siding, the brand shall go unnamed, you can do that today in an image maker, and it looks pretty darn awesome.
Yep. I mean, obviously people it still struggles with. You'll end up with 6 fingers or something like that. It's really hilarious.
That was always how I could tell when I made AI in the very first days, they look like Dracula.
Right.
It's like, don't give them teeth, just close the mouth, smile, because that looks scary as could be. It was like Lex Luthor or something like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. This is going to be so terrible. We can't put this on a social media post. We're getting there though. Usually it's a little bit less scary now. Some of them, I can't tell they're AI people.
No, there's been some really good ones.
The eyes is kind of where you can tell like it's a little soulless, but on an AI headshot, you can sometimes tell.
Yeah, no, it's gotten to the point where you actually have to really stare at it. I mean, it's like checking the Mona Lisa, right? And it's like, what am I looking for? There's something wrong. I can't figure it out.
I love it. Well, I'm curious. how do you see, because I know there are a lot of people listening to this, especially independent business owners. They're like, I don't have 2 hours to spend on this a day, Mark. Like I'm drowning. I don't have time to even do anything to respond to emails. Well, my first answer to this would be answer my own question. Build an AI agent to do that crap so you can do other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you see that like somebody can just get started in this? What's a way to solve one easy problem to just try some things out in AI? What would you say for independent retailers, hardware stores, lumber yards? What would be a way to start?
I mean, just as simple as adding an agent to your inbox.
Yeah.
That would be a heck of a start. Most people that are on an operational level within independent yards, they're bombarded by sales emails, order emails, confirmations, so on and so forth. It's like, just throw an AI agent onto your inbox alone. It'll draft a response to 90% of your emails, and all you have to do is proof it and send it.
Yep.
So, okay, I just gave you back probably 3 hours of your day. Right there in that little step. It's those trivial tasks that we can't ignore, but they are still trivial. We have to read we have to go through them. Having it help you with your calendar. Tell the AI agent, hey, I need at least 2 hours a day blocked off of my calendar so nobody can schedule it. Yes, we can do that manually now, and we probably should, but we don't. So, I mean, just small little steps like that, but then take it to the next level and just start asking it questions. For our sales team, a massive one is technical documents. You have to read an entire 18-page technical document to get to one sentence for the answer you were looking for. Well, throw that document into AI and ask it the question. Review this document. Tell me what the specific gravity is. Okay. Poof, your answer's there in 30 seconds.
And then show me exactly what page it was on. So I can go screenshot that exact thing to them.
Bingo, yes. And your customer thinks you're a genius because you found it so darn fast and they didn't have to read the whole thing. You just saved yourself 15 minutes. And so it's not, there's no one thing, in my opinion, with AI that's going to say, there's no silver bullet.
Yeah.
It's just continual incremental time savings.
A lot of golden BBs. That's
there you go.
And, it's beautiful to me that you don't have to really know a ton about tech to be able to do this, because really and you don't even have to know how to prompt it necessarily, because you can tell it, I don't know how to get this information, so I don't know how to prompt you. So this is what I'm looking for. Write a prompt that would work. And it'll talk to itself to tell it what to do. It'll give itself instructions. It's the thing you wish your wife or husband would do. I love it. My husband and I, it's really funny because we obviously work in the business together. He is a techie. I'm honestly pretty techie on this stuff. And we work a lot with this. And people will say like, well, y'all, yeah, of course you guys can use AI like you're techies. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not what this is. This is basic stuff. You tell it what you want and it will give you back pretty good what you need. Mm-hmm. So I think the training, I mean, like if I had to say, what's the hardest thing? It's that I've been in this industry for my entire life. And a lot of this weird little stuff that I know is because I've been hearing it since I was 5. But AI can pull all this different collaboration. So what if you took the knowledge of those people that have been working for you for 30 years and you recorded it? So you just listened to them talking back and forth to their customers and all those and said, take away the little things that this person just said that maybe you wouldn't know about, decks, or you wouldn't know about Windows or hardware or whatever. What if you started to figure out how to do that? And then when that person retires, you've got their knowledge. Like we could do that today. We have a little recorder called Applaud. It's like a credit card, and it records everything that you say when it's turned on and gives you a transcript. And what if you put that into a knowledge base? Now we're cooking with gas. Like now we can save ourselves from this entire exodus of all the knowledge base that's going to retire. We could capture that. So I think there's so much we can do. I mean, it excites the heck out of me. I'm betting so big on it because I really believe this is the way we can do more, especially small businesses, independent businesses, people that need more from every resource. This is how we get it.
Well, you touched on such an important thing too. And, mentorship is not a strong suit within our industry. Yeah. It never really has been.
No.
I don't see it changing anytime soon. And so we lose a ton of knowledge to retirement and phase out and burnout and everything else. Yep. So it's like, I love the idea. As long as it doesn't go to HR, I'm on board. Yeah, might get sticky.
Oh, well, and that's the thing is like, we've got to figure out a way. I mean, listen, I'm not necessarily by trade a rule follower. I'm more of a contrarian disruptor. If you ask anyone that knows me, they'll probably laugh and say that's a little bit of an understatement. I stay legal. Let's just make that really clear. I'm ethical and legal, but I do like to push boundaries of what's okay. So we got to figure out how to stay compliant on this stuff.
Absolutely.
Like you said before, you don't want to put your entire P&L and all your trade secrets into an open AI. It's called open AI. That's company. Like they are training this model off of what people are searching, just like Google is training off of what you're searching. There's a reason why when you type a question into Google, it gives you the 4 or 5 things after that, because enough people have searched that they know there's a good likelihood this is what you're going to say next. That's been trained by what people have asked. So just know you got to protect your data, and there are ways to do that. And if you want to know how, ask ChatGPT and she will tell you. She'll tell you,
Literally.
You could turn off the remembering, you could put it in this. And there are actually ways to do closed knowledge sources. So there are people that can build those for you where you have a closed hub that is not going to ever go anywhere. And there's like a lot of really big servers that you could build just for your internal team. But the problem is it's not going to go out and grab things like OpenAI will. So if it's not on that server, then it's not going to know the answer. So you give some and take some when you do that. So, I mean, it's just got to be based on what you need it to be. But I mean, the limits don't exist. I mean, they just don't exist. It's, yeah. And
our comprehension, our comprehension and ingenuity is our limiting factor on this one.
Exactly. It's based on first principles thinking of, if we forgot everything we've ever known about this industry and how we've done it for every day since 1947 when Moore Lumber opened, if we forgot all of that, then what could we do? And that's pretty much what the true answer is, that it's unlimited. I think that's a good place to stop, Mark. I feel like we've hit it. I mean, I could literally talk about this for 5 hours. No one would listen except the other AI nerds that are right now like, oh my God, this is exciting. And everybody else is like, I don't know what they're even talking about.
Yeah, no, I was looking at the counter going, oh, this has been 10 minutes. Oh, wait, no, it hasn't.
It's like, what else could we dig into that we could fix? I mean, I think it's so much. Maybe we have to do a second episode because next week it'll be something new.
Totally.
I want to come out there and meet you guys and see this in real life. I think you may be one of the most innovative people I've ever talked to in the industry.
Well, thank you.
I think Moore Lumber is doing something that is really stinking cool. 7 stores, open since 1947, a leader in independent hardware and lumber in Colorado. If you don't know who Moore Lumber is, you got to check them out. Mark is on LinkedIn. Aaron's on LinkedIn. You actually post a fair amount. You're pretty active on LinkedIn. What should people do if they're in Colorado? They want to know you, see you, come visit. What should they do to find you? Where are you located?
So I office out of Castle Rock, but you're welcome to any of our stores: Bailey, Pine, Aspen Park, Evergreen, Bennett, Castle Rock. Reach out to me. I'm always happy. I try to be as transparent as I can, especially if you're an independent operator. Boy, howdy, I have no secrets from you. We love what we do. We love being independent, and we're passionate about keeping as much independent as we can. So please reach out. And I guess, stay curious, right? Don't assume the way you've always done it is the way it needs to be done. There's always connections that have to stay in place, but we can disrupt markets. So find tools that align with your mission, stay strong with them.
And don't let the fact that you're, I hear a lot like, well, I'm old, man. I don't have time for this. It's like, that does not matter with this tool. I mean, it doesn't. Just like with the internet, my 100-year-old grandmother could do the internet. You could do anything you want. It doesn't matter how old you are or how young you are. And that's another thing I hear is like, well, I'm only 20, I can't really do this job, or I can't do this. The thing that I love the most about AI is it pretty much allows, if you're hungry and you want to learn something, it just about levels the playing field for people. And that should be both encouraging and scary as hell to everyone that's listening.
It is, but it's all about the mindset.
Because the people that do this and really capitalize on this opportunity as business owners, as leaders in our industry, the people that choose to do this will be the same people that are reading books, that are asking questions, that are going to conferences. Those hungry people, the ones that really want to innovate and grow and change, they're the ones that are going to take this bull by the horns and go and win with it. The rest of the people are just going to stay just the same. They aren't going to listen to any of the ideas and try to innovate them and put them into their business. And they'll be okay, but they eventually may turn out like Kodak. They may be the one that's been there for years that now is extinct, which makes me really sad when I think about legacy businesses in our industry. You know, my family had a lumberyard and still does have a lumberyard in Georgia. And it makes me think really sadly about those, because the big dogs are doing this. Like, they are investing millions. You know, QXO, Brad Jacobs, he's just entered the space. He's here. He's here to play big. He's got all the dollars and all the cents, and he's got the people to back this up. You don't have $1 trillion to, like, honestly, I don't even know how much money this cat would put in. It's unbelievable. But what you do have is a hungry ability to go learn yourself. And that's enough. For an independent lumberyard, that's all it takes to really win with AI. You don't have to have $1 trillion.
And keeping that, you know, you said it earlier, and I want to reiterate, it's like keeping the focus is, you're not replacing people. You're enabling them to have more time to build those relationships.
Yes.
You're just giving time back. And that's one of the things that we can never manufacture.
Yeah. And if you think about the biggest problems in your business, a lot of times the biggest problems that really hold us back, they're little mundane tasks. It's not the big thing that's like what you think is like the people problem. It's the little emails. It's the little tiny things. That's what's easiest to automate with AI, is the little tiny things. It's knowing the data points from that P&L that could help you grow. It's knowing from your inventory and your turns and all of that of what should we focus more on in this particular store and different thing in that particular store. And it's knowing that in like 30 seconds. I mean, it is literally almost instant. So I love it. Well, Mark, thank you so much for coming on the Grit Blueprint. I mean, one of the funnest conversations I've ever had on my show. I'm so excited about this. And I will definitely have you back. So thank you so much. And I hope you join us on the next episode on the Grit Blueprint. That's it for this episode of the Grit Blueprint podcast. For more tools, training, and industry content, make sure to subscribe here and follow me on LinkedIn and other social media platforms. To find out more about how Grit Blueprint can help you grow your business, check us out at our website, gritblueprint.com.